This is TRP, everybody. I'm Scott. Thank you, as always, for being with me. Today is a special day because there are only a handful of bands and musicians in Canadian music that I consider to be legends. April Wine is one of those bands. The list of hits is endless. Could have been a lady. Rock and roll is a vicious game. I like to rock. What a night. Just between you and me. That's just to name a few of the countless. For 5 decades, they have been led by singer-songwriter Myles Goodwyn, who has a brand new single out now called For Ukraine, inspired, of course, by the devastating Russian invasion of Ukraine. He also has a new solo record coming out this summer called Long Pants, and Myles has been kind enough to be with me today on the record player. How are you?
I'm good.
Glad to have you with us. I'm glad you could take the time out. You guys have been doing this for 50 years, I mentioned, still going strong. Some of Canada's most recognizable music. How on earth do you keep a band together for 50 years? That's what I want.
Well, it's not the original band. There have been
No.
changes. There was a 9-year hiatus in the 80s. But, the only reason that it still exists really is because of the continued support of radio
Mhm.
for our songs, and therefore there's a demand for the band to perform live. So there's no reason not to do it, unless that all went away. You know, I don't think that age necessarily has anything to do with it until a point. But I was just somewhere the other day doing a show, and I saw that Gordon Lightfoot was appearing,
Mhm.
and Gordon is a lot older than I am, and I'm the eldest in April White, and he's quite fragile.
I think
And he certainly doesn't need to do it
no.
financially, and that's the thing. There's something about performers, a lot of us, that just can't imagine not doing it. Whether it's in the studio, whether it's live, those kind of things. Right? For me, I have no purpose in life really than music.
And as long as your
And
body will still let you do it, right? You may as well.
what's that?
As long as your body will still let you do it.
Yeah, as long as my mind and my body allow me to do that, so something like the song for Ukraine is just something that I did because I was watching the horror that's going on, as you say, there with the invasion of Russia and the people, and then over 4 million people displaced and all the rest of it. And I don't really sing about or write about politics or religion. I leave them alone. Always, all my whole career. But this one, I sat on my hands long enough. One day I said, I can't take this anymore. Because I do watch it every day. I tune in to see what's going on. I don't go deep. I'm not one of those that wants to know everything that's going on all the time. But you don't have to watch it for very long to get a very strong overview of what's going on and some of the details. And so I guess it was a month ago now, Tuesday, I said, that's it. I got to say something. I mean, as songwriters, that's what we do. And folk music and folklore and passing along stories and information has always been part of what musicians, minstrels have done from the beginning of time. And I just felt I had to say something. So I said, Tuesday, I'm going to start. I started on Tuesday. I was done Wednesday. I was in the studio Friday. I did a video on Monday, and it was out later that week. It just went bang, bang, bang. And I sent it out with just the hope that maybe it would inspire some people to make donations, financial donations, because that's all we can really do. Not pick up arms and go to war, but just, help those folks.
Is there any specific charities or anything that you work with that fans can help? So
No, I don't really. I mean, I don't personally. I mean, I can suggest. Red Cross is really good if it's especially if it's specifically for Ukraine. Clearly, the Canadian Ukraine Congress sounds pretty heavy duty. It doesn't sound like super all kind of warm and fuzzy and friendly and stuff, but it actually is. They're really the money that they receive goes in helping the people of Ukraine, and of course, by helping people of Ukraine, it also means not just not just food and other things and medicine and all those kinds of things. It also helps supply them with ammunition and guns and stuff to defend themselves
right, yeah,
against the invasion. So those are two, but there are other ones too. Just a little bit of research and like I say, those are two right off the top.
The song obviously came together, as you mentioned, fairly quickly. What's
Yeah.
the reaction been from the fan base?
It's been very, very, very good. People are moved by it, and and radio has been supporting it in some areas across the country. And there's a place for a song like that, and it seems to be finding its place. This Saturday here in Nova Scotia, there's a Ukraine event on there. What it is a couple adopted a family that have just arrived from Ukraine, a husband and wife, and a 3-year-old daughter, and a son that's just a couple of years older than that. And as they reached around to see if there was anybody else doing it, they found more and more of these pockets down here of people that are doing the same thing. So now they have this whole function that's happening on Saturday, and they asked me to be part of it, and of course I said yes. So there's a little bit of a snowball effect, I guess, in terms of following up on the song and getting a little more out of it. I mean, releasing a song like For Ukraine has nothing to do with the career move. I mean, that's way beyond me. It's not even in my radar. This is just about maybe I can help a little bit.
Now, you've got the new record coming out this summer called Long Pants. Is For Ukraine part of that record, or is this just going to be a standalone song?
Well, it is, it happens to be the very last one before I close the door on this, because I've been working on this Long Pants album for 42 years. The oldest song on here is the song I wrote the night of the morning, wee hours of the morning that my daughter was born.
Wow.
My daughter Amber. And it's a song called Forever Amber. And when I got home from the hospital 1 or 2 or 3 in the morning, I forget now, I went to my studio and I wrote the whole song before I went to sleep. And that was 42 years ago. And I just recorded it fresh about 4 or 5 months ago. And not a word, not a note has changed. It's exactly, I got it right the first time.
That's awesome.
I must have been inspired.
So the longest song.
And so it goes back, and it's about family, and it's about other social issues. It's kind of an important album. It is for me, certainly. And there's one for my youngest boy who was diagnosed with diabetes when he was 6. And it's a very hopeful song about diabetes called Over the Moon. And there's another one for children, and there's one about the love of my life, and there's one about sailing, and there's just kind of a mixture of things. And I call it Long Pants because some of the overall the material is adult or mature,
Right.
And kids wear short pants, adults wear long pants, so I call it Long Pants. I've got a song for my partner is Native and Assiniboine, and so certain things affect her, things that happen to Native people, like the unmarked graves of the children from the residential school system, of which her mother and other people that she knows were part of that system. So there's a song on there called Some of These Children, They Never Grew Up. And then I had the missing and the murdered Indigenous women of not only this country, North America, going on forever. I wrote a song called Darling, Where Are You? And I have Tom Jackson. I don't know if you can picture Tom Jackson, the Native movie star, activist, singer, songwriter. He's one of our most famous Native people, border of Canada, all the rest of it. He's on it. And they got we're doing a video in a couple of weeks down in Cape Breton, actually, with the Mi'kmaq reservation. And so some of the song that I wrote called Darling, Where Are You? I sing in English, but then there's also Native people that sing in Mi'kmaq language, So it's really an important song to me, and I think it's going to be an important song to, the government's involved too. So we're going to try and get some good reaction from that as well.
That's great. The album, the last album, 2018, was blues fused, I guess, more blues music, along with a lot of collaborations with other people. Is this record a rock and roll record? Is it a blues record? Is it kind of all?
No, yeah, it's a good question. It's a songwriter's album, and it's kind of a acoustic, light electric based album. The blues album, 2018, was my first attempt at the blues, and that was called Myles Goodwyn and Friends of the Blues.
Yeah.
It got nominated for Blues Album of the Year, which I was very proud of, because I was I'd never done anything blues before, so it was very well accepted. Not in Canada only, but in the US. And then I did my second one in 2019. It was also very well received, called Myles Goodwyn and Friends at Event 2.
Hmm.
And I won East Coast Music Awards for both of those. And I intend to release a third installment of that this summer called I Dream in Blue. And I'm just trying to get long pants out of the way, and then I can do I Dream in Blue. And it's written, I just have to record it.
More
More
collaborations?
not so much.
No.
I did that for 2 in a row. Now it's basically a band, blues band. And then I decided, with all the downtime I have with because of COVID and stuff, that I would start trying to write an April Wine album, because a lot of people would like to hear a new studio album.
Absolutely.
So I'm halfway through that, and I've made a commitment to have it out around the new year, whether it's just before or just after, right in that frame there sometimes. So there's room. So I've already, like, the process is about halfway there. So that'll be fun too.
Speaking of April Wine, I like to, when I interview people that have that one big hit that they're especially known for, I always like to know what their relationship is with that song. Do they even like that song? With you guys, there isn't that one big one. There's just a ton of big ones. Is there any song in the April Wine catalog that is maybe a favorite of yours, or that you just will never get sick of performing or singing?
Well, I mean, there's favorites for different reasons, and you know this business well enough and seen enough interviews to know, as soon as they get to what's your favorite song, the musicians always go, like, they throw up their hands, and what's an important. I mean, a song, obviously, Just Between You and Me, a song that also came very quickly, was the biggest hit because it crossed over from rock into MOR, into every kind of demographic and every kind of rating, like a ballad will. And then the songs like I Like the Roller off First Glance, which broke us into, not I Like the Roller, jeez, Roller. I Like the Rock and Roller. That's a new song for you. And Roller opened the doors for First Glance internationally for April Wine in a big way. So Roller is a very important song too, And then I have my own little personal favorites that, unless you're a diehard fan and play both sides of a vinyl, you wouldn't even know.
I play both sides of the vinyl. Deep cuts are the best.
Yeah. Sometimes
the best part of an album is the deep cuts. I said in the intro about memorable songs. Just a quick story to show you how memorable April Wine music is. Many years ago, a friend of mine's getting married, and Catholic wedding, and they're up at the front, and the priest has this little bell, and he rings the bell, and they do something, rings the bell, and there's another scripture type thing read, rings the bell twice, and something else happens, goes to show you my ignorance of religion here. I don't know what any of this meant. But at one point, he's doing his thing and speaking, and he does this thing with the bell where it's ding, 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 ding. 4 or 5 of my buddies, all in the pew, all at the same time, very loudly, we're like, da-na-na, da-na-na.
Yeah.
The entire church turns around, stares at us. His wife still isn't speaking to us, but that just goes to show you the power of one song.
That song was written by Jim Clench, who's no longer with us, but he wrote and sang that song, and it's a great song. I mean, not only radio, but it's been used a lot of hockey games, sports events, things like that.
I'll always have that memory because, like I said, she's still mad at us to this day for that. You guys were part of one of the biggest ruses in music history when it came to this album, which we eventually got out of it. But the night at the El Mocambo, this fantastic live piece of live music. You guys were a part of that with the whole getting the Rolling Stones involved. It was a band called the Cockroaches that was supposed to be opening for you for April Wine at the El Mocambo until everybody arrived and realized that the Cockroaches were actually the Rolling Stones. And here's April Wine in 1977, I think it was, opening for the biggest band on the planet in a place in Toronto that holds 300 people. I've always wanted to know what your memories were of that night and how that kind of came about.
Well, I've been doing interviews around this because it's a fresh topic again. I describe it in my book, I'm
Just between you and me. Yep.
just between you and me. It's all in there. More detail than I can do now, but I mean, really, people have to remember that we weren't buddies with the Stones. I mean, there was a distance, and I don't think that distance would have been so great if it wasn't for the fact that Keith Richards got busted for heroin. And so he was trying to avoid some serious jail time, and you hardly ever saw him or the other guys. The only person that was accessible to us, to me certainly, was Mick. Mick Jagger was very friendly and forthcoming, and big, beautiful ear smile, and he, hello, mate, and all that. And he was wonderful. Everybody else just stayed out of the way. Just like, they were toned down. So there's no big party stories. I mean, if the place was full, it was, as you can imagine, smoky back then. It was, cigarettes were smoked and sweaty and loud and rock and roll for a couple of nights, and it was very cool to be part of that.
And again, this recording came from it. The Rolling Stones live music, which they're re-releasing now, came from that night as well. So, piece of music history for sure that you were a part of. That led to the opening slot. Didn't you guys open for the Stones in the States after that?
Yeah, we went down to the States after that. They took us down with them.
And that kind of helped you guys in the States, obviously.
Didn't hurt.
Yeah. 2 years of being unable to perform, Myles. I've seen you guys live so many times, I can't count how many. Just looking at the upcoming list of shows that you're doing, you're coming to Ontario in Oakville on September 9th. That's the only show around us that I saw. But how itching are you to get back on stage and go? And is this a solo tour, an April Wine tour?
What you're referring to, I believe, is an April Wine show, wasn't it?
The one in Oakville was an April Wine show. I just didn't know if you're doing in the summer. Are you doing all April Wine, or are you doing?
No, it's a mixture. I've got my acoustic trio tours a lot, and then of course, and then there's April Wine. So it's a mixture. It's almost half and half right now. It's about 12 shows each, something like that.
Getting all through Canada.
I'm looking at May right now, and I see next week I'm going over with my acoustic trio, to Gander, over to St. John's and Gander, Newfoundland, which is always a treat.
That's where my wife is from.
Is she? Oh, good. Yeah, good. It's nice there. I love going there. And then my trio goes up into Ontario for a tour. We're doing Burlington, London, Highgate, Oshawa.
Oh,
Doing a run up there. And then April Wine's in Ottawa on the 23rd of June, which is my birthday. Which, by the way, my album Long Pants is released, as I like to say, Long Pants drops on June 23rd, on my birthday.
That was my next question. When is the record out?
June 23rd. I will be in Ottawa that night for having my who knows how many birthdays on a stage or backstage, but they asked me to do it on the 23rd, and I said, oh, what the hell. It was my birthday. I prefer to be home, but I just wanted to get out and play, and it's so much fun to be with the band and the crew and stuff, and our fans, of course. So Ottawa on the 23rd, and then we play somewhere else. I see on the 25th. I don't know where it is, but we're busy. We're busy. But Long Pants is on the 23rd, absolutely. It'll be available. Also people should go to MylesGoodwyn.com. That's my webpage. And of course, April Wine's webpage is aprilwine.ca.
Awesome. I'd get all the dates there.
It'll be available on Spotify and this thing and that thing. So
that's great. I can't wait to see you in September. I'll be there for sure. Hopefully we can catch up at that time in Oakville. Thank you so much for being with me today, Myles. It was an absolute pleasure. I wish you the best of luck with the new record.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's
all
great.
right. Take care.